Well, welcome to December in Ohio. It's kind of a nice day. Very lucky with the December weather we're having. A lot of people ask me, why do you ride in the wintertime? And there is a story behind this, so I wanted to share this story with you. I mean, it starts when I was young, but long story short, if I can even do that, I was about 7 years old when my dad left, and we had 5 kids at home, just him and mom and 5 kids, and I kind of get where he's coming from. He freaked out and took off. I never saw him. Lived in the same town, but just never hooked back up. And I went away to college, came back home my first year of college, and decided to hang out with a buddy on my hometown up on the main strip. There was a little honky-tonk bar up there, and on the marquee it said Stony Star on guitar. And I thought, man, I'll go in there and have a brew and check it out and see what's going on. And sure enough, I get inside there, and that Stony Star was my dad playing guitar. So as he was in there playing guitar, I watched him for a few sets, and I finally got the guts and went up and introduced myself to him. And I said, I'm your son. He said, I kind of thought so. He says, hey, I got something for you. And I didn't know what he was doing. Whatever it would be was a shock to me, I'm sure. But anyway, I walk up to him by where his little guitar was, a little stand and microphone, and he handed me a polished stone. It's kind of his calling card. Sort of like Stony Star, but it was just a stone. Well, he handed me that stone. He says, this is so you'll think of me. And I said, well, Dad, I don't need a stone to think of you, but that's nice of you. And I kept that little polished rock with me for years. I went off to college, kept it in my art bin while I was at art school. I've kept it with me at different times. For some reason, it never left me. That was when I was 18 years old. Years go by, I have my own kid, my own son. And my dad reached out and he says, hey, listen, I wasn't a good dad to you. And I hadn't seen him for years. He says, but I'd like to spend some time with your son and your daughter and get to know them. And I said, absolutely. I'm not going to withhold that from anybody. He and I never were a great relationship when I was younger. And time was to let him do that. Anyway, he comes back into my life and to meet my son and my daughter, and he wants to spend some time with them and such. And then before you know it, he was diagnosed with cancer, and things went downhill rapidly. And only had a couple years with him that he was getting to know the kids, and then he ended up kind of in the hospital and one thing after another. And one of his last wishes was to get out of that hospital room, get on a motorcycle. And I've ridden since I was 15 on the streets, and he was a rider, and he kept wanting to get back on a bike. My brother and I were talking about it. We thought, man, if we get him on a bike, he'd probably kill himself. It'd be frightening, but that was what he kept asking for. We hesitated, him hauled around, and of course, and all that. And, well, cancer took him before we could get him back on a bike. But on his deathbed, I did tell him, I said, Dad, I said, I know how passionate you are about riding, and I am too. I said, you'll be with me in my heart everywhere I ride. I said, and in honor of you, I will ride whether it rains, snows, windstorm, day, night, but I will ride every month of this year. And I promised him that on his deathbed. So that was over 15 years ago, and I've been riding since. And I don't know if you can see this while I'm riding, but down here underneath this handlebar here is a small metal container. And in that metal container is that stone he gave me. And that stone stays with me on every ride. And I take that metal container and I say, Dad, let's have a good ride. Because as he laid there on his bed, I said, you'll be with me. I'll ride every month for you. He says, that'd be nice. So that is why I ride every month of the year. And it just so happens that I get lucky to have a great December day here in Ohio. So it's all good. That explains it from Ohio Jimbo Jimdian. And that's why I ride every month of the year. This one's for you, Dad.